Mom, can you believe it? That girl has only one dad. The angry phase lasted about 4 to 6 months. Every time I visited, I had to pretend we were happily living together.
What led to your divorce?
We didn't really know why we got married. It just happened. And then we had Anfisa, our daughter. Everyone kept saying, "You should get married, get married, get married." So we did. But after living together, we realized we were more like friends than a couple, so we divorced. After all, marriage should be for love, not just because there's a child.
I wouldn't say it was an accidental pregnancy, as people often assume. It wasn't like that. It just sped up what might have happened anyway.
Yes, that's my son. All my children love Dennis. I have another daughter, they all adore him, calling him either Dennis or Dad Dennis. We studied together and spent a lot of time together. But after university, we didn't spend as much time. I got a job, he got a job, and I dove headfirst into my career, losing my head a bit there. We tried to keep our relationship going, talking care about it, but things moved fast. I don't regret what happened, but I would have done things differently, given myself more time to think.
Interesting. Go on. Surprise me.
Probably to pause at a certain point in my ambitions and desires, to prioritize marriage. If my priority had been family and marriage, everything would have been focused on that.
Our relationship started getting worse. And then basically the philosophy was that it's better to separate and have a good relationship than to stay together and have a mess. We divorced because I cheated.
Say it differently, like you made a mistake.
Just being honest.
There was no choice, let's put it that way. For both of us, such a thing was unacceptable.
Did you maintain a good relationship immediately after the divorce?
Initially, I felt hurt and angry. That's probably a normal reaction at first. Our communication wasn't great initially. It changed over time. The angry phase lasted about 4 to 6 months. For me, a turning point was when our dog passed away. That was tough when she got sick. Personal grudges didn't matter as much then. We had something in common, our love for the dog. So, in a way, we supported each other more during that time. It took time for him to settle his life and for our parents to calm down, as they were strongly against the divorce. They wanted us to keep the family together and didn't understand our decision. But now, we can have heart-to-heart conversations and share things. We didn't have this closeness before.
Some time had to pass for everything to settle down and for everyone to realize and accept that we need to co-parent our daughter, meeting at kindergarten and school.
We are forever connected by our daughter and want to raise her together, showing her only a positive relationship between her parents. That's why things are good between us.
At first, we didn't communicate. We had separated. There was no grudge.
Kirill has reasons to be angry with me, and I am grateful that he doesn't because he understands me. There was no awkwardness after a long break. After I lost my head, that phase passed, and I missed having meaningful communication with someone close, someone to talk to.
Have you ever faced awkward situations due to your former marriage?
We divorced when our daughter was just a toddler, about 2 years old. She calls my husband Dad, and she has another dad too. She was so surprised in kindergarten when she found out that other kids have only one dad. She said, "Mom, can you believe it? That girl has only one dad." My husband just laughs about it, takes it all with humor. Yes, this year we had a situation. In the summer, we were camping with a group of people we only see once a year, or every 2 years. Some of them, not being that close to us, didn't know we were divorced. They were confused. Everything seemed normal. Then they heard some phrases and were like, "What's happening?" The funny thing is, when we were getting divorced, nobody thought we were splitting up. Everyone thought we were getting married because we were so cheerful. I had to work as usual, my favorite job, and even though I took the day off, I had to go in, so we couldn't celebrate. but I gave him socks, like in Harry Potter, with a Dobby symbol as a sign he was free.
I keep them.
Did your relatives try to save your marriage?
Yes, many people, especially my parents, were like, "Don't be hasty, think it over."
We were a role model for other couples, but it turns out it's not that simple.
Of course, the parents. But my grandmother tried the most to save the marriage. She really loved Dennis, and still does. She even told me that if she were younger, she might have flirted with him.
I didn't initially tell my mother that we officially divorced. One weekend, I was about to leave with my brother. We were all dressed, almost getting in the car. I stepped out of the house, told my mom, "Oh, by the way, I'm also divorced." Slammed the door and ran off. She only called a few hours later, probably after she calmed down.
During these 3 or so years of my divorce, my grandparents didn't know we were apart. Every time I visited, I had to pretend we were happily living together.
Well, it's a white lie. They are grandparents after all.
Recently, I made a passport, couldn't keep it in anymore, and told them because they started asking again. I showed them the passport without a marriage stamp. They said, "Call him and go back."
Did you have to divide mutual friends after the divorce?
Our friends took the stance that both him and I are their friends regardless. They would have communicated with us either way.
Actually, yes, our friends sided with her. And that was right because I was at fault, she wasn't. So everyone supported her, and that's how it should be. I've come to terms with it. Now, everything's normal. We communicate well with all our friends. They even told me that I was a complete idiot. Fortunately, we have this amazing friend who, in any situation, even a disaster, always has a great sense of humor.
He called me, jokingly asking if I needed a shovel to bury him, things like that. It was more in jest for support.
Friends communicate with us, as it were.
We joke around kindly, both with our friends and they with us. But there were no harsh jokes or anything scary.
Our mutual friends.
We didn't have many. We spent most of our time either together or at work. Our common friends are mostly our classmates who now work with him, so
You could say they stayed with me. Our friends think we're half mad, in a sense, because they say, "You guys are crazy."
they're convinced they'll be at our wedding.
Oh yes, my friend keeps whispering that he'll be the best man at our wedding.
Do you keep track of each other's personal lives?
Well, we're aware of it if it happens, so to speak.
We promised each other, we agreed, if we start serious relationships, we'll stop communicating. Yes, I've had other relationships, and our friendships sometimes affected them. Not everyone was happy about it.
That's exactly why we decided that if serious, appropriate relationships start, it's better to minimize contact. You have to respect your partner. And not many would be pleased that my partner frequently communicates with their ex.
Well, we don't keep track of each other's personal lives, but we're aware.
No, I don't keep track. I'm fine with it. It suits me. The whole country almost follows your personal life. She's a blogger. Many girls, even my acquaintances, follow her, sometimes telling me about this blogger and how she lives. I say, "That's my ex-wife."
I get a lot of likes.
Yes, everyone finds it so interesting.
How often do you communicate now?
We see each other once a week, sometimes more often.
To talk about our daughter, how her studies are going and such.
My husband is good with the kids. For example, if we need to go to another city, we can confidently leave the daughters with Dennis. We don't leave the little one yet since he's a baby, but the daughters love it. And my husband, for example, even sits together with him at the table for our daughter's birthday. Once I posted a story, and all the girls were so surprised to see them sitting together at the table. We also attend school meetings together.
I might be passing through the city and call up. We can go out to eat, have some coffee.
I can ask you for help.
Or advice.
Sometimes I just need to talk, and he's always been a friend, always listens. Honestly, we just enjoy talking to each other.
Is it challenging to maintain a friendship after divorce?
I'd say it's not hard to be friends, but sometimes it's hard to explain to people why you do it. They don't understand and think you're not quite normal. If you treat each other humanely and with respect, what's the problem with communicating? No, it's not hard to be friends. I think it's harder not to be friends with an ex. Living in constant stress is harder. But when you're on good terms, everything becomes easier. Solving any issues that come up is easier. They say there can't be friendship between a man and a woman. So, there can be friendship between a former husband and wife, probably. When a guy and a girl are friends, it's surprising, but it's normal. It's great that all my kids love him. I get a break. The youngest always pulls my hair, but he doesn't have much hair to pull. Right? Right?
It all depends exclusively on both people's characters. There should also be healthy self-irony. If you can't joke about it, can't laugh about it, then that's probably sad. Because, it's not normal. Come on.
But where are the norms here anyway? It just happened this way.
There aren't that many sufficiently reasonable people, especially those with common tastes and preferences. So such people are valuable, yes.
Такі людяні це не да.